So, good morning. I wanted to recapitulate. Do you say that? Recapitulate. I wanted to draw my conclusions from 18 months of wearing only traditional German clothes every single day of my life. So, in October 2018, I bought a traditional dress in Bavaria, in Munich. Basically a traditional Bavarian dress, you could say, but yeah, it is, well, not really traditional. It's just the style, you know, the traditional style and the traditional making. I think you could basically put this traditional dress in some kind of village and say, well, this is exactly the dress from that village. But I think it's more a modern style of a traditional type of dress, you know. So it's not how to say it. It's not a specific dress from a certain place. It's just more a general Bavarian dress. But you have to say for these kinds of clothes that these types of trousers, for example, were worn in Europe, you know, basically everywhere in the 19th century, you could say. So these were worn in Norway, in Sweden, as well as in northern Germany, southern Germany, probably also Italy and France, you know. They were just a type of trousers that were common. They were probably not always necessarily made of leather, but also of other types of textiles and fabrics. But the leather ones are specific to southern Germany, I would say. So yeah, 18 months ago I started wearing these clothes for various reasons. I wanted to wear something I could wear every single day without breaking, you know. So in my life up to this point, I'm 36 years old, I have never cared for appearance and for clothes, you know. And I've always worn one jeans and one t-shirt until they wear out, you know, until they just fall apart, and then I use a new one. And because the time span until the clothes would just fall apart would become always shorter and shorter, so I would buy a jeans and it would last me maybe half a year, and then it would just completely, you know, break apart, because basically the lifespan of the jeans is becoming shorter and shorter. I was wondering, couldn't I just wear something that lasts longer, you know? And I thought, you know, something made of leather would just last longer. So this was one reason. The other reason was I wanted to preserve resources, you know. I wanted to this throwaway society, this planned obsolescence society, I wanted to contrast it a little bit, you know. I wanted to combat this spirit of throwing away things by just wearing something very durable, you know. The next thing I had in my mind, I wanted to wear something typical, something with character, because everybody out there walking around in the streets is wearing cheap Chinese synthetic plastic clothes, and I wanted to wear something that is typical from my country and that just looks beautiful and traditional, and you know, has natural colors, pleasant to the eye, you know, and not these you know, shrill pink and, you know, these weird plastic colors that modern clothes have. I also noticed that nowadays in Germany most people just wear black, you know. It's absolutely amazing how many people, young and old, just wear black or gray every single day. And it's so dull, so boring, so brainless and depressing. And I wanted to just wear something beautiful. And you know, the next thing was I was thinking about these people who do reenactment, and they make you know, they go into these medieval markets and they wear traditional medieval clothes, but only in their free time, you know. But they spend a lot of time, and it's like their hobby. They make these clothes, and they have a lot of skill, and they are like also tailors, so they're tailoring their own medieval clothes. But they will only wear them on special occasions. And I always wondered if they love these kind of clothes and the handicrafts that are involved in making them, why don't they just wear these clothes every day? Why do they shy away from wearing their favorite clothes in their office, at their job, at their work? You know, why? Why just reenactment? Why not just be what you like? You know, why not just be the change you want to see in the world? If you want to live in a medieval time, you know, surrounded by people who look like this, why don't you just wear these type of clothes every day? And this is what I wanted to do, you know, just I like traditional clothing, I like traditional culture, so I will wear every single day just traditional clothes. That was the next idea I had in mind, and there were several other ideas I had. This is like a whole thing. I could write a book about it basically. For the beginning of this video, I just want to recapitulate, and I want to give you guys an update on how the physical condition of my clothes is now after 18 months. And I will start with my lederhosen. The lederhosen have now several, you know, parts which are broken. You know, so the first thing I noticed was that this is broken here. There's some flaw here, and I don't really know the English words for all these you know, fabric and tailor related subjects. So the next thing is the pockets. The pockets are broken on both sides. They have been sewed by my girlfriend, but they broke again. The next thing is that these strips here that secure the sides, they are now shorter. They had been longer and they broke on both sides. Now they are shorter. And I have also, you know, these little impurities that accumulate on the clothes. It's mostly when you are in the woods and you get some resin or something on the clothes. Or here, for example, this dark part here, that was my little daughter who pulled my cornflakes from the table and all the milk poured over it. But you know, impurities like milk or so, they wash away over time, and this type of leather trouser has a tendency to clean itself, you know. So little impurities, they just wear off by themselves just because of the physical you know, the physical wear and tear on the cloth, you know, on the leather. But you also have permanent impurities, which are, for example, I think this kind of dark part here, or some dark parts they come from, you know, when I was sitting at a fireplace and some spark came here, or maybe some hot wood, you know, some burning, how do you call them, embers or something, fall on the trouser, then, you know, it can burn. But that's not a problem. This is basically one part of the character of your lederhosen, that it, you know, it gets, you know, how do you say it? It becomes worn a little bit and gets impurities, but that's just natural to the lederhosen, and, you know, that's basically nobody cares about that, you know. So the next thing is this shirt. I made the mistake of buying only one shirt at the time when I bought it, and after 1 year of wearing this shirt every single day, it got this hole here. And then I bought 2 other shirts of the same style, but they don't have the same type of fabric, which I really like. So I will try to get this fixed here. The jacket is a little bit shorter now. I think I washed it, and then it became a little bit too short. Usually, you should never really wash a sheep wool jacket, because you want to preserve the fat in the wool, you know. So there's like this lanolin, the sheep, the wool fat, wool wax, which protects the wool from, you know, from liquids, but also from impurities, from dirt. And you don't really have to wash it. You usually just hang it in the air and let it, let it be cleaned by the air a little bit. But it also doesn't really pick up smell very easily because, as I said, the fat in the wool protects it from, all kinds of influences. So it's basically very, you need very few maintenance. You don't need a lot of maintenance for traditional clothes. The only things I really wash are the white things like this shirt. But the rest, I do wash these socks. I wash these, but also not very often. I can wear them for a week without having smelly feet easily, and they keep very warm. This is my second pair of socks I had. Initially I bought three pairs of socks, and now I bought 3 other ones because the first 3, after 1.5 years, they were pretty worn out. They had holes, especially here at the heels, and this was mainly because I went folk dances a lot with these socks, and after my first whole night of folk dancing, there was already a hole in one of the socks, a small one, which then expands. And so in dancing there's a lot of wear and tear on the socks, and I should have bought more pairs in the beginning to have more rotation on them, but but that's a little bit of a downside for natural wool and socks. They're not very resistant to physical strain, so synthetic socks are very resistant. They're very durable, but they also have much less quality in terms of thermic values, and just how warm they keep, how well they regulate heat. So these woolen clothes are very good at regulating heat. You can wear them in the sun, and you don't necessarily sweat, but you can also wear them in the cold, and you don't freeze. So it's amazing. They have amazing qualities. They're also they don't get wet easily, anything. So they have amazing qualities, but they are not very resistant to physical strain. So this is a downside for woolen socks. But anyways, if you buy a big, large enough amount, you can rotate them well around, and I think they will last also a long time. These are my South Tyrolean leather shoes. I have used, this is now the 3rd pair of how do you call these strips? I don't know. The shoelaces. This is the 3rd pair of shoelaces that I've used, but the first 2 pairs also lasted quite long. They're quite resistant. I am a little bit behind in greasing these shoes. This is why they break here. But this is my fault. I should grease them more often and keep them in better condition. Otherwise, these lines here, where they are sewed together, they are in perfect shape. After 1.5 years of wearing these shoes every single day, South Tyrolean handmade leather shoes, they are in otherwise perfect conditions. I wore them on hiking tours, I wore them at work, I wore them every day in the streets. I'm just very impressed by the quality of these shoes. I have never worn a pair of shoes for that long, and I can only recommend anybody to do this, to buy really good quality shoes. That really pays off. Speaking of paying off, how much did I pay for this entire garment? I paid, I think, more or less 800 euros. 400 euros was my lederhosen made of goat skin. And then was like 120 euros this jacket, some kind of, 50 euros or 40 euros this shirt, and 120 euros the shoes, more or less. I don't quite remember, but all in all, I think it was like 800 euros. They told me in the shop that leather hosen made of goat skin lasts for about 100 years. The deer skin leather hosen, they say they last for like 200 years. So if you calculate that, if a jeans breaks after half a year, and you wear it every single day, you will spend, like if a jeans costs like 100 euros, you spend already 200 euros for jeans in 1 year. Now I paid 400 euros for this lederhosen, which will last me maybe 100 years, you know. I can inherit this to my children, you know, and they can wear it again. Now, you might ask, but hey, you know, Rattentask, but your lederhosen is already broken. What are you talking about? You know, there are already holes in it. Well, I have to answer to this question that I'm right now on my way to a tailor, a very old man, and he said he will fix my lederhosen, you know, and give it an overhaul. And this is something that you can't do easily with modern industrial clothings, because they break in a way which is unfixable, you know. I noticed that the fabric just gets thinner and thinner, and it just basically dissolves on your skin, you know. But this will never happen with leather. Leather is very, very durable, and when the, you know, the joints where the pieces of leather are connected, when they get loose, you can just fix them. You can just you know, tie them up again, sew them again. And this is what I'm gonna have done today by this old tailor who offered me this service. And I'm very happy that there are still tailors around. And when I come back, I will tell you the story of the tailor and of the fixing of my lederhosen and of all the other things that I experienced with this type of clothing, with wearing a traditional German dress every single day of my life for 18 months. So stay tuned.